Happy Sunday, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Sunday from Portsmouth, England. I think most of the people here probably it's Sunday morning, but we are solidly in Sunday afternoon right now. Yeah, how's everybody doing? This is so exciting to catch up with everyone again. I've got my tea in hand. I just brewed this. You can see, maybe you can see it. It's still steaming a little bit. So this one's like a lemon ginger tea. What do you have, Derek?
Instant coffee.
And if you guys caught some of our videos this
Wait a second. Wait for it. Before we begin, if for whatever reason the stream cuts out, everybody just remember, restart it.
Like refresh it.
Refresh it, yeah, because that happens sometimes.
And we'll refresh it too, because that happened last week where we had to refresh it.
I just wanted to caveat.
Oh, thanks, babe. Thanks, IT master of the live stream.
I'm a terrible IT man then.
So yeah, so if any of you guys caught one of our videos this week, we talked about how instant coffee is very common.
Is that on the one that's already gone off or the one that's going tomorrow?
Oh shoot, it is the one that's going tomorrow.
No spoilers! Stop spoiling!
Spoiler alert! Dang it! I'm giving away all our trade secrets.
All the goods.
Well, it's to all of our super fans that tune into the live stream.
Instant coffee, yum yum.
Yeah.
Mo, how you doing? How are you?
Hello.
Welcome. Oh, we should go say hi to everybody. So,
Yes.
Mary Ellen Dillon, you're the first one on, so welcome.
Welcome, Mary Ellen. I know I already said hi to her in the chat. And then, oh my gosh, Mr. Means to Travel said hello.
I wonder who he is.
Hey Sue, Scorpio Sue 1102. Good morning, good afternoon.
Bonnie from Canada, hello.
And Thomas Reiser, hi. I don't know if you're still in Michigan, but I've been following all of your UP adventures this week, and it's been fun to see what all that looks like. And it seemed like maybe you were kind of, dipping your toe into Ontario. I don't know, maybe around Sault Ste. Marie. So that was really, really cool to see.
Katie Smith.
Yeah, hey Katie, how's it going?
Hello.
And then, Musings at Midlife Laura, she says,
Hey, Laura.
Good morning, back from vacation, and happy to see you all. Remind us where you went on vacation again, because, that'd be really fun to hear how it all went. And hello to Mo. Mo, we're like really trying to get over to Northern Ireland in our itinerary. Derek actually mapped it out for early November, but we're super concerned about all of the lockdown rules right now, which we will get into on this live stream, and happy to hear your thoughts about that too. But we're mapping things out, and especially Derek. Derek's doing a lot of that hard work because I've been doing a lot of the video editing and posting.
So as a disclaimer for everybody, if we talk about future plans, just pretend like a giant tentative stamp is like going across the screen, because everything is super tentative right now, because there is a spike here in the UK from a COVID perspective, and some local areas are introducing stricter lockdown requirements than the broader UK government or England or Scotland, etc.
Yeah. So
there are certain places that maybe we say we're planning to go to that get a lockdown in place, so we have to like pivot and all that stuff. So
I mean, Wales is a perfect example of that even this week.
Yeah.
So I think, gosh, I feel like the days are running past, but it's got to be like several days ago now. All of a sudden, the Welsh government decided that they were going to implement lockdowns in specific areas within Wales. The biggest
mainly
cities,
on the southern part of Wales.
Yeah, mostly the biggest cities too. But you cannot leave or go. So we're just very glad that because we were looking, all over the UK at different places to quarantine.
Including Cardiff.
Yeah. Exactly. And so
we're very happy we didn't do that.
Because Wales is beautiful, and we
stuck.
would have loved to be there if, there was freedom of movement, but it would have been really a bummer if we had gotten stuck. And I feel like
oh no!
I am knocking on major wood, because this could totally happen to us throughout this journey at some point. Especially because we're trying to go to some really cool places that we'll get into. But for those of you, because I'm sure Welsh lockdowns are not like number one breaking news in America this week, like it was here.
Probably not.
So that
other things have happened.
We might be informing you guys about some of that.
Although, Thomas, I really appreciate you staying on top of things. You've sent us a number of things that have been super helpful, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Purdue's on. Hi, Purdue.
Hey, what's up?
And he gave us a really awesome comment, like, that I totally missed several days ago on one of our quarantine videos that had a great breakdown of all these things that we should see when we're here and stuff like that. So a lot of the places, thankfully, we cross-referenced and are on our itinerary, but we'll try to take your advice on some of the other ones too.
Your dad saying that the on-screen chat panel is not updating, so I don't know what's
Oh,
going on
you're
there.
right, it's not. Okay, 1 second. Thanks, Dad. Another IT genius on this live
The only
stream.
IT genius on this live stream is her
sorry.
dad. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, let's get that chat working. 1 moment. It should be able to do this in real time. Nope.
Maybe not.
Why is this not working for me? You keep talking while
Okay,
I
so just to go through a couple of things for us. So we are so close to being done with our quarantine. We actually end quarantine on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning will be the first day that we go out and explore Portsmouth, and we're super excited about that. Super stoked!
Oh my God, we're leaving quarantine in 2 days. Well, a day and a half.
Day and a half. So this is our last live stream in quarantine, and we will put out one more video tomorrow on like one of our 14th of our quarantine series, and it'll be the last. And after that, you can expect that our content's going to go down a little bit. We're going to go from daily down to 1 or 2 posts a week, plus our live streams. So you should be getting 2 videos plus a live stream every week here on out. At least that's our goal. We'll have to see how that kind of workflow kind of works out once we're actually traveling and whatnot, but that's our hope. And so that's kind of what's going on with us. We hope to have that. We're going to have our Tuesday content that we started last week with our Travel Tip Tuesdays, which are meant to be like really short videos, really just like a helpful little bite-sized morsel of information for you guys. Not a long video at all, hopefully under 5 minutes, and then a longer video on Thursdays or Fridays with more of a travel vlog type of video as we're exploring the UK. So, I would expect that first one will likely be a travel vlog about Portsmouth, maybe Brighton. We're looking at doing a little day trip out to Brighton. So, that's kind of what to expect from us going forward.
Yeah. All right, so quick update. For some reason, the chat is not porting in right now, and I think it's probably we would need to stop streaming in order to reload it. So I'm not going to do that. So what I am going to try to do, and bear with me as I do this, I'm going to try to expand it in real time, so that way at least if you guys are watching and it's not distracting that there's nothing going on over there. But if you're watching this on replay later on, the way to see what the live chat is to watch it on your phone or on your laptop and just see what the chat, the live chat section looked like then. Yeah.
Although I know we look pretty on the big screen. So,
I know.
that's fun
Derek
too.
and I always watch these. If we're watching replay, we'll watch them on the Google Chromecast on a smart TV or something like that. So we're speaking to people who are basically us. All right. So, but yeah, we're really looking forward to doing this. Do I wish to remove the chat? This is so scary. Yes. Okay.
All right, cool.
Hopefully you guys can still see us. I'm going to make it a lot bigger here.
Well, now they can't see how to follow us.
All right, tell me if you guys see us way larger now. And you're right, they can't see how to follow us, but we'll get over that.
Yeah, you guys know how to follow us.
Follow us on the socials.
The social. Okay, so let's get back to things because now we're a little bit behind.
Yeah.
A lot of hellos, good mornings, and how are yous?
Wow, big screen looks great. Thanks, Katie.
So we've said hi to Purdue. I Don't know if we said hi to Jim, but Jim, hello. If we missed you, apologies.
Hi, Jim. And then hey, Troy and Paul Tipton and
Ronnie Dove.
Ronnie Dove's on and Klaus. Welcome to everybody who we haven't said hi yet to.
Yes.
Sorry if we missed anybody.
Klaus, thank you for the congrats for her hitting 100,000 views on YouTube.
Thanks. And yeah, wow. I didn't realize anybody else was paying attention to that but me. So thank you again for that. Yeah, that happened this week, which we were really super stoked about.
Yep.
So 100,000 views, but we still need 1,000 subscribers.
So if you have not subscribed
Fingers
yet,
crossed,
please go
that'll
subscribe,
happen.
hit that bell so you get notifications when we put out cool new content.
Yeah,
I'm working on that. I'm trying to get that one down.
And then, all right, okay, so the Dell, I'm not sure who you are. Welcome to you, though. Really happy to have you on. So traveling to UK October 8th from DFW. That's where we flew from as well. Your vlogs have been extremely helpful. Thanks so much for sharing. Thank you so much. That is really super sweet of you to join and come on and say that to us in person. So that means a lot. We've gotten so many incredibly nice comments like that. That you can always get some pretty mean ones on YouTube, but we've been lucky and found a really good community, I think, with all of you.
Knock on
wood. But yeah, we
it's
love
like catnip to the trolls.
Everybody's
so nice.
I totally just jinxed it. But yeah, I mean that type of comment just inspires us to do more. So thank you so much.
All right. So Mo says there's talk about a travel ban between Northern Ireland and Ireland, but no idea how that would work. There's lockdowns everywhere at the moment, so we'll keep on top of that with what's going on in Northern Ireland. Currently we're not looking to go there until like November, and I think a lot of people are hoping that they're trying to get these like circuit break lockdowns in place that hopefully make it so that they don't last forever, and that there may be more of like a 2, 3, 4 week type of thing. So hopefully by the time we're ready to get to Ireland, we'll things are unlocked down. I don't know. Yeah. So let's go through. Let's finish saying hi to a few other musings at midnight. Musings at midlife.
Musings at midnight. That's another.
Sounds like an after-hour show.
Another one.
Musings at midnight. Now, you're looking beautifully ginormous.
Yay!
Things
my
you
dad,
don't want to
My
hear.
dad says now you can see the blue of your eyes. Yes, well, we're here for that, I suppose. It's funny. So I have blue eyes, but my dad has brown eyes, and my mom kind of has like bluish greenish gray. And so. Yeah, we all have different eye colors in my family.
Edmund Chang, welcome. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Okay, Troy has a question for us.
Edmund Chang. Okay, so he's saying same, and Thomas Rice said done, and that's in response to Katie saying everybody please hit the like button. So thanks, Katie, for that shout out. Yes.
Well, I should go hit the like button because I have it running too.
You're gonna like.
Oh, I liked it. I did it.
Oh, nice. Thank you. And thank you to all of you guys who've hit it.
And I'm already subscribed.
Oh my God! Stop.
So Troy says, question, did you folks purchase travel health insurance? Any advice or thoughts?
Yeah.
We did. So we went through a company called Seven Corners. Do your research, but what we were looking at was we were thinking about getting an annual travel health insurance, but the issue was that all of those plans had maximum thresholds for the length of a trip that they would cover. And they were 30, 45, and 60 days. I think that's what Allianz does. And we were going on like a 90-day trip, basically. Yeah. So that kind of put that outside of what we could do. Also, most of the annual plans don't really cover COVID. And that's the main thing that we were looking for. So
only Allianz and Seven Corners, at least to American citizens that we found, were covering COVID for travel.
I think there might have been a couple more, but yeah, they definitely did. But I don't think they did under their annual plans. You had to get like a special rider and all that kind of stuff. So we ended up going with Seven Corners. I thought it was fairly reasonably priced for the length of our trip. So they also offer annual plans, but their annual plans also have those maximum trip times. So again, we just got one that covers our specific trip. So we'll be here for about 90 days and we'll be covered for that amount of time. Fun fact, if you're looking to go abroad, it's actually cheaper than travel health insurance in America right now. So if you click a button that says that, include America in your coverage, it almost doubled the price of our policy.
If you're using it, like let's say you're an American and you're using it because you want to do a huge road trip around America,
it's gonna be expensive.
It's twice as expensive. So our total cost for both of us,
it's like $400.
Here it was $400.
Yeah.
And it would have been like $800 for the 90 days if we were traveling around America. The more you know.
Yep. And then it was like super reasonable. I mean, it was $400 because I added on like the hazardous sports rider just in case. Like if there was a cool zip lining thing, I wanted to be able to do it or what have you. And yeah, so that was like
you said
$40.
$40, yeah.
And that was like
for both of us,
come
right?
on, why not? Yeah.
Okay, so it was like $20 per person.
We're going.
But what's interesting is here in the UK, health insurance, of course, works very differently than in the US as well. And so the government here has made all COVID testing completely free regardless of whether you're a citizen. So like we technically can go in if we were having symptoms and get a test free of charge. And then if we were diagnosed and had to get treatment and stuff, that would also be free through the NHS, the National Health Service here. That we're kind of like double insured and not insured, but like we're kind of double covered in a way just for being here.
Now that said, we still got it because we were looking at if we were to add on another country during our trip, if we wanted to say go to Turkey, Croatia, like at the end, if we're like, oh, let's add on Croatia at the very end, if like things got bad here, we could always go there and pivot a little bit and like play around. It didn't cost extra to add like Turkey on to our like health insurance, and in Turkey I would want the health insurance so we could go get private health coverage while we're there if something were to go wrong. So it covers more than just COVID.
But it's definitely an important thing to look into if you're considering traveling anywhere right now. Absolutely.
To me, best case scenario is we just spent $400 for nothing. That'd be great.
Yeah, of course.
Best case scenario.
Thomas says he just got his third COVID test. You know what's interesting is, so I got tested for COVID, I want to say it was like June or July. Ended up being negative. I was totally fine. There was just a chance I had been exposed to somebody who is the wife of somebody who got diagnosed. That being said, I was totally fine. We still quarantined. I got the nose swab, which is very normal in the U.S. But when we were watching the news here, I saw that like the people, at least in the footage, were getting a throat swab. And I asked my friend, and I said, who lives in London, and I was like, do they swab people's throats here, not their noses? And she said, I have no idea, because of course she's never gotten one. So if anybody knows, please let me know, because that's still a mystery to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Paul Tipton Eric Zacarias is saying good morning. Hey, Dad.
Good morning, Eric, and good morning, Darlene.
Happy couple days after your birthday.
And good morning, Nick Barnett.
So Paul Tipton is saying that he's on lockdown where he lives and works at the moment. Or he's not on lockdown right now where he lives and works. But he's heard a lot of places are, mainly the more urban areas. Yeah, luckily London currently, knock on wood, is not under lockdown. And I say knock on wood because
it's on a watch list.
It's on a watch list. Hopefully it doesn't go on lockdown because we're planning to be in London coming up, like really soon, like next. Like when we're doing this live stream next week, we're hoping to be in London.
Yeah, this week.
So yeah, hopefully it doesn't lock down between now and then.
And there's all of these restrictions in Scotland right now about how households cannot mix and stuff like that. And if that came to England, that would be interesting because we're going to be staying with my friend. We're trying to. This is the strangest trip because we're doing things so last minute. Yep. Like we have a plan, it's literally on our calendars of what the ideal trip is going to look like, and then we're probably going to book things just last minute the entire time, as kind of a precaution.
Yeah. So what I will say, it's all about adaptability and being able to pivot, cancelable hotel rooms, things like that, so that if we were planning to stay overnight in York, for instance, and then they go into a lockdown, we can then not go to York.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, so it sounds like they do saliva tests here, and nose and throat. Paul's saying, okay.
Your dad's saying that in the U.S. they're switching over to saliva now too.
You guys are teaching me something right now, because we watched so much BBC News this week.
Lots of BBC.
And that was the footage shown, and I was like, that's not my experience. So yeah. All
right, Nick Barnett's welcome. How you doing? Good to have you here, sir.
Zacarias is asking if we booked the bus. So let's pivot to something fun and explain that question.
Wait, what's the question?
Did we book the bus?
The bus. No.
Okay,
no,
so
we did not.
Sue follows us on Instagram. Thank you, Sue, for that, by the way. And
Eliz will now tell you what she wants, what she really, really wants.
So we're going to the Isle of Wight sometime in the next 2 weeks, and we're looking at doing an overnight there.
Yep.
And there is an Airbnb that you can rent on the Isle of Wight that is legitimately the coach, like, bus, or...
Yeah, the tour bus.
Tour bus of the Spice Girls from the movie Spice World. And so the headline is like 1997 Spice World bus.
Every 90 kid girl's dream.
I was like, I have to stay there. And it was funny because all of the reviews, of course, are like phenomenal. Then there's like 1 4-star review, and I was like, you're on the Spice World bus. How could you not give it a 5-star review?
Yeah. But then we looked into it, and unfortunately, with the way our calendar is looking currently, and this could change if suddenly we can't go to London because London gets locked down. Maybe then we pivot to doing a little bit longer of a jaunt out to the Isle of Wight, and that would then become available. But it wasn't available for the nights we were looking to be there. Also, we saw reviews that because it's like a bus, like the toilet is not inside. You have to like go outside to use the toilet.
It's kind of like an outhouse situation.
In the middle of the night. Right now, that's getting pretty cold, and that would be less than fun. So we're like, maybe not for us. But it does sound.
I don't know. I
fun.
feel like it would still be super fun for one night.
Yeah. If we change our itinerary and we're there at night that's available, we're probably gonna stay there. But
yeah. I was like, this is epic.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I found it. I sent it to her.
Yeah,
so.
And then I posted on.
Which is why I'm a good husband.
And it's probably now that we're sharing it broadly, it's probably going to be completely booked up.
By all the people going to
all the people who are like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Hey Karen Mack, welcome.
Hey Karen, how you doing? We did have, so Mary Ellen was saying we're finally moving to phase 3 soon, but more cases since the kids went back to school. Hopefully you guys do make that move, Mary Ellen, because it's nice when things get to open up a little bit more. Katie Smith is asking, when you flew in, did you have to prove an outbound flight? No.
Surprisingly, no. We booked one anyway that is completely flexible. But they asked us when we were leaving on the forms.
Yeah, they asked when you're planning to leave, but they
I don't
didn't
think
ask
they
for
would
an
have
outbound
said,
flight
like,
or
you're not
anything.
allowed to come if you don't have one or something like that.
And you could have just put in any date. I mean, it's not like it. They didn't say, like, and give me your flight number all that. So
that's true.
Like, you had to provide for your inbound. You had to tell them where you were, what seat you were in, and all that kind of stuff. So, no, you didn't have to prove outbound. Paul Tipton saying NHS has set up a track and trace app. They have. It crashed the other day. I don't know if it's because it's been downloaded so many times or what caused that, but I do know it crashed.
When it first launched, I was fascinated with it, and I reached out to so many people that I know in the UK, asking them their thoughts. And we, of course, like, have the luxury of being able to wait it out a few days and see how the uptake is, because we're not leaving this house still for another few days.
Day and a half still.
And so I was kind of asking, like, my friends, are you interested in downloading it and stuff like that? Apparently 1 million people downloaded it within the first day or so. And it's really interesting. It's something that would probably never happen in the US, which is why I think it was extra fascinating for me. And the way that it works is you download an app to your smartphone, and then when you go to a place or get on public transit or something like that, your smartphone scans a QR code at, like, the entrance of, say, a subway or an entrance of a bus or an entrance of a pub. or a restaurant, and you actively choose to scan it, so like you're opting in to do that, and then it uses Bluetooth technology to decide how close to not decide, but like kind of map how close you've been to other people, and if you have been within 1 meter of a person who also has the app for 15 minutes or more, and then days later that person gets a positive COVID test and self-reports that to the app, then you get pinged that says, hey, you've been in contact, which I think would be interesting if you ride public transit all the time, because you might not necessarily know the people that you're around.
Yeah, and there's a few businesses, like I know that the Uber ferry on the Thames in London requires you to use the track and trace app for them. Hey, Buttercup.
Oh my gosh, you guys, the cat is trying to join the live stream.
And before you ask, no, we're not going to bring him in and put him on the live stream.
First of all, I'm allergic.
I want to.
But Derek loves this cat so much.
He's just like hanging out on the fence.
He is. He's waiting for you to come outside, babe. It's okay, though.
Bye, guys. It's been fun.
No.
I'm going to go play with the kitty.
Yeah, Buttercup is a daily part of our life here in quarantine, that's for sure.
Yeah, and too bad Eliz is allergic.
Yeah.
Killjoy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so the track and trace app is pretty neat if it works. I think you need pretty significant buy-in for it to actually work, and people need to, self-report and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know that well over 1 million people have already downloaded it and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see. We'll probably download it and then see about using it. So
yeah, I'm definitely interested just to see how it goes. Indoor plumbing for the win. Yeah.
Alan, you guys need a Buttercup cam.
We do. We can like see him or her right now.
Walking this way.
Walking this way.
Yours must be burning.
Anyway, so yeah, let's stay on point on the live stream. Oh my gosh, I know she or he is trying to like.
I think
she's definitely looking at you.
And parkour. That's quite the leap, guys. You missed it. It was jaw dropping.
Every day.
I should be a sports commentator. Oh my god.
Righto. So Thomas Riser says separate track and trace app for Scotland, both available in the U.S. store. Oh, interesting.
Mo, I bet Buttercup works for the police and is checking in to make sure you're still in quarantine.
That would be so funny because we actually haven't really had anybody checking in on us. So that would be super funny if they like have a built-in camera or something
Officer
on the
Buttercup.
cat. Officer Buttercup.
Instead of Inspector Pikachu, it's Inspector
part of the old
Buttercup.
Scotland Yard.
It would be Inspector then. Fun. Okay, so Klaus is saying in Iceland they do both a throat and nose swab, and they are not gentle, at least not the nurse who did mine. She really just jammed that stick up my nose.
Gross.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, rough.
Yep. It's not comfortable, but it's not like painful.
Yeah. Okay, so Thomas Ryder says separate track and trace app for Scotland, both available in U.S. store. Oh, cool.
The COVID cat.
The COVID cat.
God, that's kind of a downer name for it. I feel like Buttercup's like a positive element in our life right now.
Yeah. I think so, at least. Okay, so Scorpio Sue says, what difference do you find from American versus British meat, veg, cheese, etc.? Any winners and losers? Wow, it's like you read our mind.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the one that we're doing tomorrow? Or is that
yeah,
one that
we're doing a video tomorrow about
it's all about
the differences of food between the U.S. and the U.K. But we can kind of elaborate on. We did it more broadly, but we didn't do our own opinions. So we can talk about our opinions here.
I wouldn't say there's any winners or losers. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of their brown bread.
But I think that it's the bread that we bought that you're not a fan
dense. I mean, it is like
and
heavy.
It didn't come sliced.
None of the bread comes sliced. Basically.
No.
Well, my
bread comes sliced here.
This didn't. The buns we ordered didn't.
This particular loaf of bread was not freshly baked.
2 out of 3.
Like I know that if bread kind of is like that fresh baked stuff in the grocery store, then it might not be sliced and stuff like that. But this is like pre-packaged bread. And so I open it up and I'm like, oh my goodness, what do I do with this? And Derek's like, you cut it.
Oh my god, you guys should have seen her first attempts at cutting the bread. It was like a freaking massacre. There's like bits of bread everywhere. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm
she's
not
like
saying
trying
I'm
to
good
she's
at
trying
it.
to chop it with a bread knife. I'm just like, this is I love you.
Yeah. Some people
So
aren't
now
as good at cutting bread as
No,
others.
I'm the bread cutter in this relationship. And yeah, it's great. What I would say is that I now understand what they mean by best thing since sliced bread. It's way more like easy not to have to slice your own bread every day.
Sandwiches so much easier if it's pre-sliced. But we have been doing a lot of really fun recipes. Thanks to everybody who have watched like our food videos this week. We've done a few that feature like Derek cooking and everything, and especially the pear quesadillas seem to be like a huge crowd favorite. I feel like everybody's really interested in those. But I think they're delicious.
Yeah, no, they are. I would say that the tortillas that we got are not the best. There's low carb protein tortillas. I like the Mission carb balance that you have in the U.S. a lot better, personally. But yeah, no, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Nick's asking for going to Edinburgh. Been thinking about Edinburgh a lot lately. Went once years ago and really miss it. So we went
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, in August, September 2018. Yep. And had an amazing time. It's such a fun city, and just beautiful. The architecture is phenomenal.
If you guys have been following my Instagram, that's where my shots recently have been from our trip that year.
So Derek really wants to do more like the North Coast 500 and stuff if we go to Scotland, and I'm definitely more interested in kind of making Edinburgh at least a couple days of home base, and then doing more of the east coast of Scotland, which like Aberdeen and stuff like that, because we didn't get to go there when we were there 2 years ago. So we're still in a little bit of a back and forth about exactly what we would do for the time frame that we've devoted to Scotland on our calendar. Because the North Coast 500 is a lot. Like, you have to kind of devote, an entire week or something to that?
Yeah, you could do it maybe like 5 days. 7 is what they really recommend as a minimum, but they say if you have 10, take 10.
Yeah, which is, that's a large chunk. And my understanding is that Wi-Fi service and cell phone service are very few and far between up there, so I'm just a little bit nervous about being as disconnected as we might be. But maybe some of you guys might be siding with Derek on it.
Nick and Thomas Reiser both say that Aberdeen's not... Okay, so Thomas says he was disappointed with Aberdeen, and Nick Burnett says Aberdeen is nice, but definitely not as much to see as in Edinburgh.
Yeah,
so that's good to know. Yeah, so what I was looking at... So let's just talk a little bit about what I've sketched out. And I'm not going to talk about like daily, like every day. Here's what we're planning to do, but just roughly what we're thinking. And I got Eliz one night late to buy into this, so she's on the record as having bought in. Hey, Darian, welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so roughly what we're gonna do is hopefully we're gonna go to London, because that's where we're gonna rent our car, and coming back from London we're gonna take a long way back to Portsmouth and kind of go through Kent and do like an overnight in Dover before coming back, and hopefully see a little bit of the Kentish countryside, and then we're gonna be in Portsmouth for a little bit, do the whole Isle of Wight thing, and before we then head over to Cornwall once we're done with our
sorry to interrupt. What were we hearing last night about Kent? You were saying something to me about...
Oh, that just has to do with what they're talking about with Brexit, and maybe having to ship a bunch of stuff through Kent. And so there's all this talk about like
Kent
the number
is where,
of
like,
semi trucks.
And all of the
so a bunch of like semi trucks and stuff will be like backlogged there, and it's like going to create a whole issue. And so like one potential proposal is that you'll need a passport to enter Kent. As like a person from the UK, you'll need to show your passport to get into Kent,
That's
which is crazy. and kind of seems a little weird. But yeah, that's one of the things that's being floated around now. But no, that wouldn't affect us now. So what we're looking at is maybe a short little road trip through Kent. So that includes like Rochester, Canterbury, Dover, that kind of stuff. And we've already done Canterbury, so we don't have to stay there long. It's really more of a drive-through, stop, take pictures, that kind of thing.
There's a bunch of castles.
There's a bunch
over
of castles.
there that Derek really wants to see.
Like really cute little towns and stuff that, you know, Visit Dover or Visit Kent actually has like a whole thing like most Instagrammable like villages in Kent. So I went through it and I'm like adding them to like our itinerary. I'm like, okay, how can I make this work? You know, and so yeah, that's kind of the plan there. So we can hit Kent before heading over to Cornwall once we're done with our time here in Portsmouth. So on that way, we'd probably hit like the Jurassic Coast, the Dorset Coast type stuff, go over to Plymouth maybe overnight, because that's like right on the border. And Nick P, who I think is on here, you like, I think you like Plymouth? I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'd go probably do an overnight in Plymouth before continuing on into Cornwall, where we'd probably stay for a few days, have a home base there, explore Cornwall because it looks gorgeous. Every time we've seen pictures and everything, it just looks awesome.
Yeah.
And that's home of like a very particular piece of this whole itinerary, which is Land's End.
Yay.
Land's End is the very like south.
Not the clothing company.
It's the very southwest point of England, of Britain. Or at least mainland Britain. So we would go there, and from there we would continue on up to Scotland. So, you know, that's where we'd kind of do like a long, you know, it's probably a week to get us up to Scotland because we don't want to like just like rush and like miss a bunch of stuff. The idea being that we would, you know, continue up, maybe stay around like. Actually, this is where a lot of questions get asked because a lot of things
really
are like.
Fuzzy one.
This is fuzzy because there's a lot of issues around like some of the towns might be under lockdown. So one way or another, we plan to get from Cornwall up to Scotland, and ideally we'd see a little bit of the Peak District, a few days in the Lake District, because that is supposed to be breathtaking and gorgeous, before continuing on up. If we can go to York, we'd love to go to York. I don't know. But ultimately, we'd end up in Edinburgh and stay there probably for a couple of days. Before continuing up the East Coast, so go past like Aberdeen and all that stuff.
I'm just going to press the pause button really fast because we're only like halfway through the trip and Derek's just going to keep going. Hello to Travel Best Destinations.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And then hello to Eric Brown.
Eric B.
Travel Adventures with Eric B. Welcome to you. Thanks, guys, for joining.
Yeah.
Derek was just overviewing for everybody what our general like road trip outline looks like. With the caveat that we always have to include of these are very likely to change. Yeah, tentative. Super likely to change.
Subject to change, not
based
final.
on 2020.
Yeah.
So we were at Aberdeen, and then actually Nick had said one disappointment in Aberdeen, a pub featured on that old show, Britain's Toughest Pubs, was closed when he tried to go. Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's always such a disappointment when there's somewhere you want to see, but it's closed. Has that happened to any of you guys? We've had that happen just with like different churches or like things under construction when we've been traveling.
Big Ben, man. Years under scaffolding.
It's just such a bummer when you show up places and then you know what you want to see has either like closed for good or is temporarily closed or something like that, or like closed for the season because you're going during off season or whatever.
And actually, Mary Ellen, thank you for bringing up Rick Steves, because I do feel like we should just go watch some Rick Steves about all these places we plan to get to.
There's some really good episodes. I've seen the one that Mary Ellen's actually talking about. So there's one of his episodes covers like Dover to Portsmouth where we are, kind of that southeastern coast. And then there's another one that covers Cornwall, that he goes to. I think there's like this national park over there that is the actual park where he decided to become like a permanent European tour guide. He's like, this park was like the place that I just had my epiphany. So that'd be cool to see too.
So once we're in Scotland, then it becomes a question of, you know, what do we do from there? So we're thinking probably a couple nights in Edinburgh, go up to Aberdeen, and then do that all along their way to Inverness, because Inverness is the start and end of the NC 500, which I've really gotten into. Like, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
I also like the idea of like being an end-to-ender, where you kind of like go from one end of mainland to the other, like on the way out. And so that would allow that. So the idea would be we'd go from Inverness, drive up the east coast up to John O'Groats, which is kind of that northwesternmost point in Scotland, before continuing along the north and then east until we get down to like Skye. Maybe do a few nights in Isle of Skye, because we felt like we didn't spend enough time on Skye the last time we were there 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, we have to go back.
Because it's gorgeous. Oh my god.
We gotta go back.
We've got to go back. So
I could spend an entire week on Isle of Skye, although I'm worried that we're gonna be there when the weather isn't as great as I would prefer. So I'm not sure if my like dreams are gonna be dashed a little bit with rain and wind.
Yeah. So we'd love to do a little bit of maybe stay in Portree or something like that on Skye and explore Skye a little bit more before heading on down to. Now our idea would be we'd hopefully start heading over to like where Mo is, over to Belfast. And the idea there is we'd work our way south, maybe hit Oban or something like that before going on to Cairnryan, which is where you can get a ferry over to Belfast. Now again, it kind of depends on what's happening with COVID and restrictions and lockdowns and all that stuff, but that's what we would do, so we can take our car over to Northern Ireland, stay there for about a week, before continuing on down and hopefully hitting Wales.
Can I just interrupt again?
Yes.
So Nick Barnett's is asking how about Glasgow. He's saying he never actually got to go. So that's some unfinished business in Scotland.
The Ouija's.
We got to go 2 years ago on our trip. We also went to Inverness and Isle of Skye and among Edinburgh and all that 2 years ago.
Yeah, we actually flew in and out of
Glasgow is really an interesting place because there's not as many like tourist things to do. You just kind of have to become a local and like go to the pubs and go to the restaurants and see all the street art.
Glasgow's very much a going out city.
Yeah.
Which we're trying to avoid a little bit right now.
Well, another piece of it is Glasgow also has several lockdowns going on right now. So just kind of overarching, like the places that we have to unfortunately kind of avoid right now are definitely that southern part in Wales that we were mentioning, probably Manchester and Birmingham, and parts of the middle part of England, and then Glasgow.
Yep.
So we would be considering Glasgow a lot more as like a return, but we're just trying to avoid having to change things around.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole thing with Glasgow, is we have done it. We'd love to do it for longer, actually, because it is a really cool city. But with everything going on, I don't think it's highest on our list right now. I think we'd much rather get back down to Wales if the north is still open. So, basically what we'd end up doing is we'd hopefully take, like I said, a ferry from like southern Scotland over into Northern Ireland, and then take another ferry from Northern Ireland down into England. That would put us pretty close to the Welsh border. From there we can just drive into Wales and kind of see a lot of the things that we had actually seen when we were there 10 years ago, maybe like Snowdonia National Park, Llandudno, Carnarvon, Conway, Betws-y-Coed, all those places, and maybe even
I'd also
go
love
along
to go
the coast.
to the Pembrokeshire coast over there, but it'd be very difficult to kind of maneuver that and still avoid like Swansea. So we'll see. I'm hoping that the lockdowns by that point in time, which would be more like November, would have lifted at that point, because what's so interesting just about how they handle it here is as soon as any numbers really start to go up in certain locales, they're putting cities in lockdown. So I'm like, by 2 months from now, that means that those cities might be out of lockdown because it hadn't really like spiked. It just was going up. So they're very precautionary here. So we'll see where things net out.
Yeah. So and then from there we would probably again, if it's open, we'd probably stay in Bristol for a little bit. Once we're done with Wales, maybe Bath, and then finish it up in London before we head home. That's our rough general itinerary. If things change, who knows? Maybe I end up on a flight to Turkey. I have no idea.
I'm not going to.
So yeah, we're kind of keeping it all open and stuff, but we wanted to get at least a general idea and framework down for us to kind of start planning our trip. So if things did have to change, we'd actually know what it impacts and how we can, reevaluate our stuff. We're probably not going to book anything like crazy far in advance. And maybe we won't get the best places or the best prices because of that, but at the end of the day, it's about flexibility, so that's likely what we're gonna do.
Yeah, it's not the cheap way to travel, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the only way right now.
I will say though, like hotels are, in the cities like London, hotels are like super affordable right now.
Yeah, especially if you book last minute.
Yeah, it's
like
great.
$100. What's the Hilton that we're looking at?
It was like 89 quid.
89 quid a night in central London. Oh my god! When I was trying
right by Tower Bridge.
When I was trying to stay there, at I think the DoubleTree is what I was looking at last fall, and it was $350 a night in that same area.
Yeah. So.
Versus 100. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think there's certain ways that traveling at this time, maybe it is a little bit more affordable than it used to be, but.
Yeah. So Mary Ellen is saying, is the NC 500 like Route 66 travel one end to the other? Not exactly. A lot of people kind of equate it to Route 66. The difference here is...
Route 66 is like an east-west thing, and North Coast 500 is a loop too, so that's...
Yeah, so I was about to explain that. So, Route 66 is one end to another, right? North Coast 500 is much smaller. It's 500 miles. It is just that northernmost piece of mainland Scotland. So it's some of the most rugged and beautiful and remote parts of Scotland, up in the upper Highlands. So it's great. It's beautiful. It's something to do, but it's it's not quite the same. I'd say actually going end to end from Cornwall up to John O'Groats in Scotland would be a little bit closer to like Route 66. You're not on the same road the whole time, but you're making that kind of like long journey and trek across the landmass. So.
Yeah. Hey, Ericswart, thanks for joining. How's everything going in Austria, by the way? Are you guys seeing, able to do your thing, go out and about and everything still? I haven't been paying attention to Austria.
Yeah, they haven't been getting played on the BBC right now. So hopefully that means good things, and there's not a lot of like crazy news. Yeah.
Mo's
that's
saying
kind of my
there's a ferry line from Belfast to Liverpool. Yep. So that's what we were looking at, and then we were looking at the ferry from Scotland to Belfast to get there, and then Belfast to Liverpool to exit.
Again,
because we're gonna have a car, so we'd probably consider flying if we weren't planning to have the rental car, the whole trip. But
yeah, but we like the idea of having the car for the freedom that it'll give us and all that good stuff, especially for like being able to like not leave things in hotels that we might not want to leave in hotels and stuff like that, like gear.
Yeah, Thomas, Liverpool would be the closest ferry port to Wales. Yeah, and so when we went to Wales in 2013, we flew into Manchester, which is even further from Wales than Liverpool, and kind of drove past Liverpool in a way to get into that northern part. But we didn't stop. So we haven't spent any time in Liverpool, and that'd be an interesting place to visit if we can. Yep. Because I'm still kind of like, Liverpool's so close to Manchester. Manchester's kind of in like a lockdown situation that we'll see. I'm trying not to get my hopes up on any destinations. And you guys will just have to come with us and go with the flow with us.
All right, so Nick Barnett, thanks for joining us, bud.
Thanks, Nick. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, and but at the end of the day, we're here in the UK, and starting Tuesday, we get to leave the house.
Oh my gosh, we get to leave the house. We get to go walk on the street. Bless you. I feel like we haven't God bless you. We haven't been able to walk and use our feet so much.
Except for the stairs. We use the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, we walk around the place and use the stairs, but like it's just. I was thinking about how long it's been since I've actually walked a distance.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to Tuesday for sure. I think this week. So you guys asked us last week if we were going a little bit stir crazy, and at that point, I think we were just so jet lagged and busy with videos that we hadn't really thought about it. And then this week, I've been feeling it a lot more. I've definitely been missing just activity.
Yeah.
And we've gotten some fresh air, but I think also there's part of it might be like the first week we had such nice weather that we were spending a lot more time on the back deck. And then this week has been a lot chillier.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
chillier,
actually
rainier.
one day that it was so windy. I think the wind gusts were like 45, 50 miles an hour. And something fell into our back porch.
Yeah, like a
huge...
big piece of plywood came flying and hit the house and fell down and stuff. So
yeah, so we're like, thank God we weren't out there. But our next door neighbor came out on like his balcony and was like, "Oh, I think it came from the top of your house." And we're like, I don't think so, but okay. And so we called the Airbnb owners. They came over and they're like, "Yeah, it did not come from the top of this house."
Yeah. But they took it and laughed.
But they took it.
Well,
because we were like, "What do we do with it? It didn't fit in our garbage."
Yeah, and I didn't want to touch it. But yeah, no. So like he came over and it was funny because then like he was like standing outside of the house and like we were standing inside the house and we were talking to him and it was like, oh my God, we're talking to another human being. This is crazy. It was kind of.
And I was
funny.
very mindful of like, okay, don't overdo it. Don't like act like you've never talked to anybody before in your entire life. But he was talking to us too.
Yeah.
I could tell that it was an exchange. So
Well,
I was reading those nonverbal cues that we weren't overdoing it.
Well, I was trying to, I was just thinking about, what Mark and Jocelyn were saying about like Liam and them about like, being like some of that social awkwardness and stuff from not going to school and like socializing with people. I'm like, we're best friends now. No, like it was like it was just like, it was so
Tell
tough.
us about the outside world.
Tell us about what's beyond the bend.
Yeah.
Just beyond the river bend.
Oh yeah. Oh, so there's another moment this week. Oh, we're just telling stories now. So there's another moment this week where it was raining. And it was raining really hard. And Derek starts cooking dinner. So this was probably around like 6:30 at night. And all of a sudden, I hear incredibly loud.
So loud.
Meowing from outside the front of our house. And Buttercup always is in the backyard, never in the front yard.
Yeah.
And so we look out, and it's Buttercup, like literally on our front step in the rain, trying to get into this house. And I was looking from the upstairs down, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see out in front of the front door. And these other neighbors could hear the cat too, and the neighbors across the street come out of their house, and they're like, "Is that your cat?" And I'm like, from the top window of our Airbnb, like,
no,
not our cat, and we're in quarantine, so we think it's our next door neighbor's cat, but we're not sure. It's like we're not sure whose cat this is, but sorry that it wants inside of our house so badly. And so they're like, we got this. And so they go knock on our next door neighbor's door, and they're like, is this your cat? And they're like, no, but we'll take it in. And we're like, Derek and I were like, what?
Yeah, no, so needless to say, the cat's fine, because the cat was just in our backyard. Now I think it's on our roof.
Cat's totally fine.
It might, who knows, it might be like an alley cat type thing.
But that was our main human interaction this week, was trying to rescue Buttercup from the rain.
What Eliz didn't mention was I opened up the door, looked outside, and Buttercup came like bolting for the door, like trying to make a mad dash into the house. I'm like, no! So that happened.
It was so cute, though.
He's a cute face.
Yeah. So that happened. But those were our two interactions with other humans, and we had masks on, and they were very socially distanced.
Yeah, we're actually, it's funny because, except for that first time when we got here, we've been, cooking for dinner, lunch, breakfast, everything. We haven't ordered delivery since then, but, I think today might be the day that we do, because We tried thawing a bunch of chicken to cook up with like barbecue sauce today, and it's still frozen solid. So we're probably gonna make a little order and treat ourselves today.
Eric Smart said, "Bless you for your sneezes."
Thanks, Eric. And Mary Ellen, did the 14 days go as fast for you as it did for us? No.
No.
Well, kind of actually. I mean, we've been busy. Right?
Yeah.
We've been busy. Like going from, and it's been tough because going from kind of a standing stop of having only done these live streams, which take a little bit of prep and stuff and setting things up, so we have lighting and whatnot. But it's like there's no editing on the back end. There's really not a whole lot to it other than that.
There's not a lot of post-production.
Yeah, there's not like post-production, whereas, there's a lot of post-production in the videos, and Eliz does a lot of work editing them, and, I give her a lot of credit for, the time and effort that she takes doing it. And putting those out every day has been, I think, a little bit draining on Eliz. But, I think at the same time,
it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's just not sustainable, and so for any channels that put out videos every single day on YouTube, I tip my hat to them.
Yeah,
because,
it's like, how do they do it? It's amazing.
Especially on weekends. Like, not even having a day off is kind of insane to me. And so, I mean, we've been busy because a video is like you come up with the concept, and, film it, edit it, figure out all the ways to like make it perform well on YouTube, like keywords and creating the title and writing the description and stuff like that, and creating the thumbnail. That I'm really, really eager to hear how everybody else does it. Yeah. I think us going down to 2 to 3 times a week starting next week is going to be a little bit more refreshing for me. Yeah, do we use... Okay, hi Gallivanting Gals, by the way. I wanted to say hi to you. I saw that you joined a little bit ago. So they also just asked, do you use TubeBuddy? Yes, we do a little bit.
I don't know what that is.
I don't use, like, the premium version, but yes.
What is TubeBuddy?
I'll show it to you later. It's a YouTuber thing.
Okay.
Then
cool.
My dad asks, have you ordered another grocery delivery, or are you going to shop in person later this week? So we did...
In person.
Yeah, we're definitely going to not do another one moving forward for a little while, and we'll probably shop, like, Tuesday morning. But...
Probably not.
Yeah, we're going to need some sort
Well, we're
of
going out of town Wednesday, and we leave for London the next day. So
okay, I don't know. We haven't talked this through,
okay.
But we're going to need, like, little things like eggs and milk and stuff. Those keep. Anyway, we ordered a second Ocado delivery that...
Yeah, small one.
...was completely... I must have screwed it up, and I don't really know what I did wrong. But...
She kept going in and changing her cart to add things.
Yeah, I was always told, like, you can... schedule basically just put stuff in your cart and schedule the delivery to lock in the time. And then you can edit your cart later on. And I definitely edited it within the right window and everything, and the cart was ready with all of the correct things, and a lot more things than what ended up coming. And the only things that came were like those initial items that I added to the cart just to secure the delivery window. And that's all that we were charged for, so there wasn't like an error that we could contest. And I probably wouldn't have contested it anyway, because it was like the day after lockdown got announced in the UK, and everybody was ordering groceries that day. Like, all of the remaining delivery windows were completely filled up. So, we wouldn't have been able to get more food, and I just was like, I don't want to deal with customer service on this. We can just make this work. But yeah, I think it was my user error, but I don't even know what I did wrong.
Yeah.
It was such a disappointment.
So Paul, actually, we asked, so Paul is saying, I wonder if Buttercup is the Airbnb owner's cat and used to live at the B&B. No. So when the guy came over to grab the plywood, we're actually like, we said, so there's like a cat that hangs out in the backyard a lot. Like, do you know its name? And he's like, no, there's never been a cat that lived here. I've never seen that cat. Although we were told by the people who were here last, right before we were here, that a cat ran into the house while they were here. So
they had like left the door.
That they had
open.
left the door open. And they like came back inside and found the cat inside. So I don't know. I think it's maybe just a neighborhood cat that hangs out with everybody. The kid next door plays with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It definitely has a collar on, so it's somebody's cat. We just don't know whose.
Yeah. So, it's, it's a cool cat, though. I like it. So, Galvin Gaz says, so Tuesday is groceries and shoes and then a pub. So, yeah, so maybe some groceries.
And good job about the shoes. You guys were paying attention.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, we had ordered these hiking shoes from Merrill that got delivered.
Here, I can bring them up.
And they look really good and all that stuff, but we made a mistake, and here's a little pro tip for everybody. If you're ordering shoes from another country, make sure you order them in the right size. When we hit order, we ordered them as though we were in the United States, because it wasn't like, oh, what's your UK size? It just said size. And so we weren't thinking, we just hit our normal sizes.
So these are what our shoes look like. We both got the same ones. But
yeah, they're waterproof. They kind of just look like normal gym shoes, but they've got good traction and grip and stuff.
But the ones that arrived, like as you'll see in the video, because I was pretty much unboxing it for the first time ever, as we were taking it out
like,
on
camera,
shoe. And I was like, this must be Derek's shoe. In the video,
I even told her, I was like, maybe I should try your shoes and see if they fit me, because maybe that's the right size.
They're too narrow. But yeah, so I wear a size 7 shoe, and the ones that came are a US size 10. So there's no chance. Yeah. No chance.
Paul Tipton, damn, you got big feet, Eliz.
And so, well, it's funny because like as we were editing this, we're like, we can either completely refilm that or just admit our faults.
No, we should be telling you, because you guys get to learn from our mistake, which is beautiful, right? So, so our shoes, our correct size should be coming tomorrow, which would be great because it's supposed to start getting kind of rainy, starting like probably Tuesday, Wednesday. Probably more like Wednesday. So if we have those shoes that we could take them to London with us, we'll have waterproof shoes for walking around the city, which would be dope.
We have to go put the wrong size shoes in the UPS box to go back.
Heck, you can stuff a month's worth of socks in those shoes. Nice.
Wow, we're getting trolled on our videos a little bit here.
Trolled by your dad.
Yep, yeah, you could stuff probably 6 socks in those.
I fit 5 in my normal pair, but yeah. So it's been fun though. It's been fun creating these videos and putting it all out there. I think for Eliz, reteaching herself a little bit about like the video editing process and stuff, and kind of like brushing off some of those cobwebs before we're out and traveling is great. Me being able to like actually be on camera a little bit, not in like a live stream type capacity.
Yeah. And
seeing how hard it is to like hit your line. I don't know about hitting your lines. We don't have this like, we never have our videos like scripted. It's kind of like we have bullet points on what we want to cover. Yeah. But, you end up saying stupid stuff quite often. And anybody who watched last night's video saw my little blooper reel at the very end.
Yeah, if you didn't stay tuned to the end, there's a really, really good blooper.
Yeah, so just fast forward to the end if you don't want to watch the whole video, but I thought it was pretty fun.
And like as we were editing it yesterday, Derek just kept cracking up every time I played it.
Well, because she'll play, and when she's editing a video, she'll go back to the same thing over and over again, trying to like perfect it. Yeah. And so I'm just hearing me screw this up so hard every single time, and I'm working on my website, and I'm just like cracking up. Yeah, it was fun. Which I guess brings us to like what I've been doing.
Yeah,
so
what have you been doing?
Eliz has been cranking it.
Tell me more.
Cranking out videos.
What have you been doing in quarantine?
I've been like trying to create a photography website, which is fun, I guess.
It's really fun.
On SmugMug is a place to...
Congratulate him. He's figuring it out himself. I love it.
I'm not a child. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, no. So I'm putting together a little photography website so that I can, have a place where if somebody wanted to go order a print of any of my photos, they could. And it's totally kind of like drop shipping type thing, so I don't have to touch anything. I don't have to like figure out how to print things. They take care of all the color corrections, so it looks like on the printing what you see on your screen. So that's pretty cool, and I think I'm getting to the finish line of getting that published before we take off and start actually exploring, so that as I upload more photos, hopefully people can see them, and if anything strikes your fancy, you can order a paper print or something like that. So
yeah, so some of the destinations that Derek's been working on are London, France. You did New York and Chicago, right?
Yeah, I mean, so right now I've probably got like 40 something photos up there right now that I think are decent. The idea here is that these could be either bought as prints or actually could be used as like kind of like a commercial license. So if like a small company or something like that wanted to use one of my photos in a print ad or whatever, they could actually go in and just buy it through the website and take care of it that way, which is pretty cool.
Which Derek's had somebody buy one of his New York photos for the cover of a book.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote it in Italy, and the book's in Italian. But it was really cool to see that.
And I didn't have a website back then, so now I'll have a website, and I can like kind of point people to it, and there'll be kind of like set out pricing and everything. So it's kind of helpful. I don't expect it to be a huge money maker, but it's just more of a way to potentially monetize the photos a little bit, get them out there, and
you take great photos.
I can then order things too, which is half the reason I'm doing this. So I can actually just order things, and if I want to, then put them up in our house in Chicago, I have a way to actually do that. So that's really more of it.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I've been up to, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. Been a while.
Yeah, you're doing really good work though. So we didn't finish really. I guess we talked about what we were going to do in Wales, and then
well, Wales and Northern Ireland are both just like chunks of time. We're like, all right, we'll spend a week in Northern Ireland.
Mo can tell you guys what we're supposed to do in Northern Ireland. We don't know.
Yeah, we haven't tried to figure that. That's a little too far off at the moment to try to narrow that down. But yeah, we wanted to like just kind of hit like general days. I think it's like early November we'd be looking to head over there. So then like mid-November we'd look to head over to Wales. So that by kind of end of November we'd be getting back into England, so we can spend maybe like a week in London and a few days in Bristol. So yeah, that's kind of what it looks like.
And Bath.
Yeah, Bristol and Bath, and yeah.
We love Bath.
I love Bath, but I prefer showers. So funny.
They all know. We talked about it in one of our videos.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and when it comes to Portsmouth, so again, the Galvin and Gals asked the question about like, so we're doing like shoes and groceries and pubs. So kind of, I mean, we kind of want to go see maybe a sunrise, go check out, some of the old town, like to check out like the military port and all that stuff. Fish and chips is like,
we're lucky because it's supposed to be a pretty clear day on Tuesday as of right now. So, it would have been such a bummer, right, if we like get out of quarantine and then it's pouring rain.
Yeah, it's been like gorgeous weather here, and of course it's like quarantine for us ends, and it's like and rain.
So I think that's supposed to happen on Wednesday, when we were hoping to go to Brighton, but we'll see.
Well, Brighton might be okay. We'll see. And again, even if it is a little rainy, we'll still go. There's no reason not to.
Yep. But yeah, Mo, we're really looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
We're keeping our fingers and toes crossed that it all works out. And then Mary Ellen, thanks for supporting us on that one. It's a fun kind of like learning experience about how to make it all work online.
Looks more like Derek wants to go to do sunrise and Liz wants to sleep in.
I've been wanting to sleep in every single day, and then I can't because I like wake up and drink my coffee and get to work.
I I'm cracking the whip. I'm like,
he
get out of bed.
he keeps like making that noise, being like, "Get up!" I'm like, "Oh my god, get me out of this quarantine."
Which is a joke.
It's a joke.
It's an inside joke about my family. My dad likes to say that my mom cracks the whip, so I'm the one cracking the whip here. Love you.
Yeah. Love you too.
Well, it's funny because I was actually watching Kara and Nate's videos on YouTube the other day, and I was laughing because it looked like Kara does a lot of their editing, and I was like, "See, Eliz, she does their editing too."
I was like, jerk.
It was like, learn to edit videos.
Although, okay, I just want to be fair to Derek really quickly. We use my MacBook to edit, which has Final Cut Pro, and Derek does not have a Mac, and so it would be a completely different like editing tool, so I couldn't even really teach him on his computer. So that's why we just haven't even put any effort into having Derek learn how to do that.
Instead, I spent like a day and a half planning out our itinerary.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, you've done a lot of important work too. You've done, your website, and you've planned our itinerary, and you've been cooking. Like Derek's cooked 3 meals a day basically. So
I am the very picture of modern domesticity.
No. Okay.
I was trying to do like, I'm the very model of a modern major general.
Yeah, it was not that close, but
not
okay.
Close at all.
And then Gallivanting Gal says we're holding our breath to get over to the UK in late March, early April. Really hoping that's going to happen. That's awesome. I think it probably will be able to happen. Like, I doubt that they're going to shut things if they haven't shut them already between the two countries. Now they probably will since I said it out loud. But it's just overall like that's really cool to plan. I know that there's a lot that can happen in between, so I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you guys. Sounds like Derek's opening up a cider. It's time. Are we gonna share that cider? Or are you gonna bring me one?
No.
So it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that somewhere is here.
You said not to give you any more.
That's true, but I think I'm okay. Yeah, the gals say, I know zero about editing. This is Melinda. I don't have the patience, but we split the workload pretty well. People don't realize how much work goes into a channel, and social media and a website. Yes, you're right. Even Derek didn't know until really this trip. And so I had to kind of like explain to him, like, I can't just like film a video and then put it online.
Well, I knew you couldn't do that.
I know you could, but like you didn't really ever see the whole process until this trip.
Yeah.
So if Derek didn't know, then yeah.
I will say. Yeah. No, and it takes a while and stuff, but again, it's one of those things where the more you do it, the better. So. It is kind of nice that, at this point...
a lot of, like, spare cider on the lip that went all over my face.
I assumed you would have seen it.
Sorry, I wasn't really looking. Sorry, everybody. What were you saying?
I was just saying, like, because now with, like, repetitions, hopefully it gets faster and easier the, more we do and whatnot.
Yeah, you can find efficiencies.
Honestly, I'm just going to put it out there, but... I'm guessing our first like travel day vlog of like Portsmouth is gonna be rough, guys. So be nice in the comment section. We haven't really done like exploring a city travel day vlogging before, so we'll see how it goes.
That's actually you're right. We kind of haven't. We've done it on like Instagram stories, but not in something this formal.
And I would expect that we'll put out like a video per kind of like location almost. So, given that we're only planning to put out maximum one of those per week, likely those YouTube videos won't keep up with our actual travels and what we're actually doing. So if you are interested in keeping up with like kind of what we're doing day to day and kind of as it happens, definitely follow us on Instagram. Which you can't see because those are covered right now. But obviously, Means to Travel.
Here, let me just move us up a little bit.
She's at Means to Travel, and I'm at Mr.Means to Travel. We're trying to keep our stories updated as we do things that are worthwhile. to see. So those will keep up more as things happen.
By the way, for those of you guys who arrived late, our chat feature was not working. It wasn't porting into the streaming program that we use, so that's why this layout looks a mess. So I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get the chat feature to work, so I tried to make us a little bit bigger. But there's a lot that I can't do while we're actually streaming other than that. So let's go back down here now. And there we are.
Okay.
And if you guys are watching the replay, just if you watch it on your phone or on your laptop, you can see the replay of the chat. Unfortunately, you just can't see the replay if you're watching on a smart TV or something.
So Scorpio Sue says, awesome Pirates of Penzance reference, and we will go to Penzance, where
I hope so. I really
by
hope
then
so.
I hope to have it all memorized. I'm the very model of a modern major general. That's all I know. I can't go beyond that.
It's
so
because
maybe.
you were watching Heart of Dixie.
Actually, it's because of Grace and Frankie and Grace.
Oh,
Grace and
is it on
Frankie.
that one too?
It's on that one too. Yeah. I think Martin Sheen's character plays the modern major general.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So good times. But yeah, so Penzance is like right over there in Cornwall. So we're hoping to go explore that city and whatnot, as well as just all of this. There's so many beautiful things to see in Cornwall. So.
Yeah. And thank you, Sue, so much. She's saying, I think it's nice that you have New Europe content, not a lot out there right now. And that means a lot. We're trying to figure out a way to kind of make ourselves unique in the space while still staying safe and showing people how to travel safely right now. So we really appreciate you tuning into that being our kind of goal at the moment. I also think that, like, there's certainly ways to travel safely abroad right now. And the most important thing is that we're showing how to do it right. So we might not be doing everything on this trip that we would do during like a normal non-COVID time. But there's always ways to dream and come back.
So Travel Best Destination says, just came back from a great road trip. National parks were super crowded. Life was kind of normal. Yeah.
So we have several friends that are doing road trips to the national parks, even just like this week. It seems like that's a big play a lot of people are making right now, especially Americans who can't really go to many other places. So, we have friends that just flew into Kalispell, Montana this week and are renting an Airbnb out for months, kind of like we're doing, kind of a little bit like we did here, but even longer. And they're just doing all the like Glacier National Park area and a lot of those national parks. They don't have a channel though.
Yeah. we have friends who just moved out to Montana for the next few months. They're doing kind of like what we're doing here.
That's what I just said.
Oh, jeez. Wah, wah. Sorry, I was reading.
Kalispell's in Montana.
Oh, I don't know where that is. But yeah, they're living in Montana. Woo!
But yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of people going to, all the national parks in Utah and Yosemite and Yellowstone. It's really cool to see everybody actually exploring our home country.
Ryan Donahue, welcome.
Hey Ryan, welcome. Thanks for joining.
So Bonnie is saying, spent 9 days traveling through the Rocky Mountains and everyone was so welcoming. They were saying, please keep traveling and come back soon. The tourism industry is desperate for tourists.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Bonnie's in Canada.
Yep.
And I think that's an important distinction because so many American tourists every year would go to like Banff and that area of the Rocky Mountains in Canada. And this year they're not getting any of those tourists, so I could see that being quite a miss. I don't know, and I would need to look at the figures, and I have not, if I'm being honest. But with the amount of people that we know, like the rise in people that we've seen going to the national parks here in the state, or not here, but like back in the States, I would imagine that it's, I guess, filled the gaps that the foreign travelers would have been, like the ones that aren't there now. just based on the number of Americans that are going that weren't always going before. But maybe there's still a little bit of a gap of they're missing tourists still. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know especially Utah, like the Utah national parks are huge among foreign tourists, like certainly in the summertime.
Yeah, like arches and all that stuff, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe with all the foreign tourists that wouldn't be going this year, there might be a little bit of, some of the hotels and stuff hurting.
Yeah. So, Scorpio Sue says, wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance. If only everybody would do it. Yep. So, musings at midlife, or as I like to call her, musings at midnight.
No,
I'm joking. Driving through Wisconsin was very mixed with mask enforcement. Some stations didn't wear them at all. Some were very strict. It was a little odd. Minnesota is very strict right now. Once in Door County, super strict.
Yeah, and Door County has been hit a little bit harder than others because it's just a tourist destination. So that's good to hear that Door County has been incredibly strict. I applaud them for that. I think, and my understanding about Door County is that their hospital infrastructure isn't very
good.
Not good, but like big.
Yeah.
So they have to be very strict about it because they just don't have a lot of beds and stuff like that.
And a lot of other places like the Hamptons and stuff, even out in New York, are kind of that way where, the infrastructure is just not in place for all year around the residency being what it is in summertime.
Yeah.
That's just not what they're built for. So it's kind of tough.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Because there's a lot of people from New York City who the wealthy ones that went to their Hamptons house or rented out a Hamptons house or whatever, and they're just there.
I mean, we have some friends who I'm sure they're just in the Hamptons this whole time.
They've like relocated to the Hamptons.
Which would be great. I would do it too.
Right.
If I had a Hamptons house.
Well, especially because you get to avoid paying New York City taxes in a lot of ways.
No, it's perfect.
Because New York City taxes are no joke.
I would totally. I would give up my.
Just because you still have to pay if you live in New York City, which we used to live in New York City for 8 years. You have to pay state and federal taxes, but then also just to live in the city itself, you pay like 3.5% of your income to city taxes,
which is nuts.
So like avoiding that'd be nice.
I wish I could have done that. That would have been great. So, Marilyn Dillon is saying Italy must be open to Americans. Sarah Murdoch, who works with Rick Steves, arrived there last week.
Yep, I saw that, and because I follow her channel, and I've been following her actually since I watched her long talk about how to pack if you're a woman and stuff like that. It was really informative, actually. She had a lot of great tips. I watched it years ago now, and still use several of her tips to this day. And it's like an hour long, so you sit there with like your tea and you watch her pack, and but it's good. Anyway, so she I saw has gone over to Italy. My question has always been with that because she works in Italy, like she's an Italian tour guide.
Yeah, she probably has a residency there.
She speaks Italian.
She speaks Italy.
Yeah, she speaks Italian. That I'm wondering if there's some sort of like she has dual citizenship or something. I don't know, but that's been a question in my mind about if maybe she was able to kind of pull some strings to get herself there that maybe not all of us have access to. St. Louis does city tax too. I didn't know that, Thomas. Chicago does not, right?
So I'm reading it right now, and it says that essential travel is allowed, which includes business persons.
Okay.
So she might be able to get there that way.
Yeah, and be doing research at least for the company.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
you got a company? Can I go there and research?
I think Rick Steves can pull that off a little bit easier than I can. Then, Italy must be open, mask enforcement was not strict in Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. That's unfortunate to hear. I mean, to be honest, we aren't even really sure how strict it is here because we haven't left. Like everybody's wearing it at Heathrow Airport, and of course our driver here wore a mask, and our Airbnb host has always worn a mask and socially distanced when he's come over. that being said, like, we've had delivery people come without masks with the food and stuff like that. So I know that, they're supposed to be wearing them, but I don't really, I can't answer that right now until we actually get to go out in public.
And so when our Ocado, like when our grocery deliveries have come, what they've basically done is said, like, you open the door, now step back away from the door, and then they unload things into your house, like onto like the front step basically, but just inside the door. And then they go back, get the next load of groceries while you take those away, and that's kind of how they do it, so that the drivers don't wear masks so much. But it's it still seems pretty safe because they're like, okay, now you step back. I'm gonna put things down, and then you can get them while I'm over here, and our Ocado delivery guy was like, and I was just tested yesterday. So that also is.
It sounds like they get tested really frequently if they're in that kind of essential service.
Yeah. So Katie Smith is saying some islands seem to be open now. Is anyone planning to go someplace more tropical soon? That's a great question.
Great question, Katie. Or is anyone planning on going anywhere?
Just soon? Anywhere generally.
I would love to hear.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. Galvin and Gals is saying, we talked about Hawaii, but they have been super strict, even island for island. And our fear is that we would get there and then not be able to do anything or go to other islands. That's why, gals, you just need to book, oceanfront, private jacuzzi, and then if you're just stuck there, you're stuck there. I mean, that sounds nice. Sounds great.
Well, you just gotta do that, then you're fine. Means to Travel Channel, here for advice.
That's my advice. I mean, geez, yeah, that's great.
Derek. I mean, yeah, do it.
Good point. I hope that's a good point for me. It's probably not. Okay, what else we got? So, Scorpio Sue is saying that non-essential is still closed for Italy. You not sure if she was able to do it for work. Yeah, so I think that's probably what it was. We're going to Mexico. So, Galvin and Gals is going to Mexico the first week of February for an annual trip with friends. But we were going to stay for about a month and hop around the Yucatan. That is amazing.
Oh, I love
That's really
that.
cool.
Do either of you guys speak Spanish? I'm curious about that.
P.S. We might go too. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Fancy meeting you here. Weird, yeah. Because honestly, we'll be back in the States in December, January, and depending on how things go, I mean, our house is still rented for until September, so Mexico might be on the list early next year.
We'll see how well we do with working remotely, and then make some calls.
But Mexico would be dope. I'd love to go to Mexico for
a month in the
period
Yucatan does sound awesome. I totally agree, Katie. And Katie, I believe, is currently learning, doing Spanish language type immersion stuff.
Yeah.
For her relocation to Guatemala.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So we would love to practice with you, Katie. If you feel.
Vamos a practicar.
Vamos a practicar. See. It's funny because I feel like once I'm actually.
Vamos a la playa.
I feel like I speak Spanish okay if I've been, around Spanish speakers a lot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the more of this you drink,
not when
the
I'm
better
sitting
your
in
Spanish gets.
quarantine in an English-speaking country, only speaking English. I feel like it's lost on me.
Scorpio, so yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah, man, that Chihuahua, awesome. Claro que sí. Bueno. It's funny, when I was studying abroad, every time I hear claro, which means of course, basically it's kind of what that is. I think of Clarissa, because her house,
Clarissa
one of our good friends.
Is who I interviewed on this channel.
Yeah, she was on this channel.
In Argentina when the pandemic kind of happened, and she had to fly back.
Yeah, she was living in Buenos Aires. But we studied abroad together in Spain, and she, it was funny because her name is Clarissa, her host mother thought it was the funniest thing to say, Claro, Clara, and she, it was the funniest thing ever, so I can't hear Claro without being like, Claro, Clara, of course.
And then the gals, so I think it's Melinda talking, I speak a little Spanish, enough to get by, just from high school Spanish, which was way long ago. Yeah, you definitely lose it a little bit when you haven't practiced.
Yeah.
I did high school Spanish and then a little bit in college. I think I took 2 or 3 courses. Derek actually minored in it. But yeah, I don't have too much more.
Yeah, so when we were on our
we know
honeymoon,
enough to get by, and that's helpful.
So when we were on our honeymoon in South America, down in Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay, we had a little game going to try to like force ourselves to speak a little bit more Spanish. Where it was like if you could do like 5 sentences in a row with somebody in Spanish, you got a point. Kind of thing. It was very informal, but you know, it was our way of trying to speak to locals in Spanish instead of just defaulting to English all the time.
Derek totally won.
I won.
He got so many more points than me.
The more I drink, the better my Spanish.
And that's how I am too.
Or at least the better we think our Spanish
right,
is.
The more we drink, the more we try. At least, I don't know. The more confidence we get. But hey, Nick P, welcome. I feel like you were on before, but maybe I'm making that up. He says the only foreign country he's been to where English wasn't the dominant language was France. Couldn't imagine learning French. Thank God for Google Translate. Yeah, I agree with you.
Eliz does some...
I tried the Duolingo French stuff because I'd been going to France a lot in 2018 and 2019. Just kind of found myself there a lot because... Charles de Gaulle Airport is one of Delta's European hubs, and I fly Delta a lot, so I just found myself kind of in and out of there.
Well, going back, as everybody knows, she is able to do kind of like non-rev type stuff, and so...
With standby,
and so she can get to Paris super cheap, or she could get to Paris super cheap.
Like way cheaper than even going to London flying standby because of the tax differences.
Yeah. So she was, able to do, fly business class both ways to Paris for like $100.
No, it was
$200.
It was like $200 to $300.
$200 to $300.
Bye, gals. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, gals.
Cheers. But yeah, it's not available to everybody, so I don't love just chatting about it.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to say
that's why I ended up going to Paris.
Yeah, I wanted to make it clear that you're not just jet setting to Paris on a whim buying a ticket for $1,000.
No, but I love it there, and I've finally been there enough that I feel like I can navigate around the city by myself and solo travel around Paris by myself and feel like I know where I am and know where I'm going and know how to get home, that sort of thing. My confidence has built despite the fact that I don't speak a lick of French.
So Amusing at Midlife is saying, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for Paris next fall, 2021, with my daughter and her wife. My daughter speaks fluent French. I tried. Epic fail. LOL. Nice.
That's great that your daughter speaks fluent French, because when you guys go to the restaurants, they love when you try to speak the French words, at least at restaurants. So that was the thing that I focused on the most, was learning the words for different foods. You can get by, throughout your day if you know all the words for different foods and then know the basics, the word for exit, the word for bathroom, say. There was one day that I had several people on the street stop me and ask for directions, because probably I was by myself, so not a lot of people go to Paris by themselves apparently. And so they assumed I was a local. And so they asked me for directions, and I had to learn how to say, sorry, I don't speak French. So that was a helpful phrase as well.
How do you say it?
I think it was Je ne parle pas français.
Cool.
I think. It's been a while. Somebody has to fact check me on that.
Eric B, I thought I spoke decent French until I went to Paris. I took 2 years in college. Nice.
Yeah. It's a lot of the words all kind of run together and sound the same. I feel like you kind of understand a language once you understand when one word ends and another word begins. You can kind of hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm not that way with French.
Yeah, that's kind of what she's saying. Dropping the whole last consonant thing through for a loop. Yeah. Yeah, so, French is hard. I think Italian would be a little bit easier coming from Spanish, which is our background a little bit. So
yeah.
I like Italian. I like Italy. I love Italy. Actually, when we were talking about, going abroad and everything, and why we chose the UK, it was because it's where we could go. If Italy had been an option, I would have been probably gunning for Italy personally, just because we've done the UK quite a bit. That said, there's still so much we haven't seen, and so like this is an awesome, epic trip that I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more of Italy that we haven't seen, and if we could go do something like this in Italy, that would be awesome. That'd be great.
Yep.
Because there's a few places in Europe that I think of as like these kind of places that you can go to for a truly extended period of time, and do a lot of different things because they have different regions that are very specific cultures and whatnot. So I think that for me those are kind of the UK, France, Spain, and Italy, and probably Scandinavia's a region.
Oh, I thought you said region. Sorry.
Countries that have specific regions within them.
Oh, sorry.
So like if you could only go to a country, right? So like to me it's like the UK, Spain, Italy, France, and Germany.
Yeah.
Those are the 5, and those are the biggest ones.
Those are large ones, yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah. So I think we definitely have a lot more to see in Italy and definitely a lot in Germany. But I'm excited to cross off a lot more of the UK than we've ever done before. I think that'll be super fun once we can actually leave in 2 days. leave the house.
So we just got a really nice comment from Julie Good. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
She says, my husband and I are new to your channel. We appreciated both your packing videos, and it was fun to see what you're cooking while at the house. You are definitely making the best of the situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Hopefully...
Derek's first video where it was just him was that men's packing video, and so I'm really glad that everybody seemed to enjoy seeing his lovely face packing his suitcase.
They liked it despite my face.
No.
Yeah, so Muse in Midlife, I'm looking forward to your UK videos, traveling vicariously through you guys right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping, people, enjoy.
That's what we want to deliver to you guys is
we'll see.
At least the ability to travel vicariously and also to plan for the future.
Mm-hmm. And, what I'm really loving is, like, I feel like what I'm trying to get out of this a little bit, and again, we'll see what ends up happening, is trying to take, like, a few different road trip ideas within the UK and kind of, like, knitting them together into one big, massive, epic road trip of the UK. But any one of these could be, like, their own vacation, right? Like, doing, like, Cornwall for a week. You could probably do that and just do that.
Yeah.
Or exploring Kent, or, like, the Lake District, blah, blah, blah. Like, all these things, could be their own thing.
You know what's funny is, so I just read Laura from Musings at Midlife said, I think if you can speak Spanish, Italian would be much easier to learn. Much of it is very similar, rules and pronunciation. It's, because they're all Latin-based. And I've heard that about Portuguese as well. But it's funny you say that specifically about Italian, because whenever Derek and I go to Italy, we don't speak Italian, neither of us do. And for some reason, we always, at one point at least, start speaking Spanish, thinking like, oh, they'll understand me because of this.
And they look at us like, what is wrong with you?
Like, you just switched to another language we don't know.
Yeah, why would you think I know Spanish? I actually speak only Italian and English.
But it's funny because it's like, oh, I know how to say where's the bathroom in Spanish.
Baño? ¿Dónde está el baño?
Yeah. But
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Oh, thanks for subscribing to us on Instagram. I'll have to follow you back. And so Bonnie's saying, speaking French can be difficult because the pronouns have genders. Yes. And even when I'm doing that, like on Duolingo, and the written form can be a little bit difficult too, because if I haven't learned the gender version of each pronoun, it's hard to get the answer right even within that app. Wow,
Mo. Pronouncing Irish words are easier for me because I'm fluent in Persian and Arabic, hoping to be fluent in Irish soon. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, because, there's a lot of those, like...
You'll have to teach it to us.
Like rolling of R's and different things and whatnot. There's some of those sounds and whatnot.
I can't picture an Irish language being spoken. I know it's a Celtic language.
Yeah, it's like good Gaelic.
But I don't know if I've ever heard it being spoken.
I think it's Gaelic,
before.
right? Isn't it Gaelic?
Yeah. Now I'm like really looking forward to going to Belfast because maybe we'll be able to hear that.
Yeah. Scorpio Sue, thanks for joining us. Also, Thomas Reiser, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Thomas. very pleased to have you, and hopefully you guys can tune back next Sunday. Before everybody takes off and everything, I just wanted to say next Sunday we're hoping to be in London for this.
Yep.
So keep your fingers crossed we get to do that, and that everything works. But yeah, we're going to be checking in from London if all goes right. Same time.
We shall see. And if we're not in London,
we'll be here.
And
And
we'll
you'll be like,
still,
oh, they're not in London.
Oh, weird. You have the same background.
Yeah.
Odd.
Your friends have the same wallpaper?
That's weird. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're up to. I don't know.
Yeah. We should probably start heading out too, because we're going to have to figure out dinner. But
I'm going to probably order anything.
I'm sure all of you guys over in the U.S. are figuring out just like your day. So thank you all for tuning in. Really, really awesome to... Sorry, I'm like choking. You talk.
All right, guys.
Really awesome to see everybody on a Sunday.
I guess I won't talk. Can I talk now?
Yes.
Hey, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And, follow us on Instagram if you want to kind of keep up with our travels more real time as they happen. Like I said, Tuesday's the day we get to bust this joint and go about, explore, and get some steps in because our Fitbits are really upset with us right now.
And thanks, Julie, for tuning in for the first time to our live streams. It's really awesome for anybody new who joined to see the channel growing and this community growing. We have such an awesome group of fellow, travel fanatics within this community. So really, really pleased to add more people like that to the mix.
But it was great seeing you guys, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye, Mo. Bye, Bonnie. Katie Smith, Eric Swart, Julie, Laura, Thomas, Nick P, Nick B. I missed a bunch of people. Eric B.
Everybody.
Darian. Thanks, guys, so much.
Yeah, thanks for everybody.
And we'll see you hopefully next Sunday. And stay tuned for some more videos coming up this week. Bye.
Bye.